notorious. They don't wanna war with us.
Alright, so once I've got this cool drum loop going, what I'm going to want to do is come up with a cool bass sound and bass line melody for the track. So I'll loop a section of the drums up here. And now I'll look to use a bass. So for Notorious, I use Rob Papin Predator 3, which is a really cool synth. Now this bass line is just one oscillator, a saw waveform, with some filter cutoff applied. And turn the Q value up, which is the resonance on the filter. And now you can start to hear it sounds like Notorious. So I'll set the filter 1 envelope, so a bit of decay, a little bit of sustain, and a bit of release. And now I've got my bass line sound for Notorious. So I will loop the drum section up here and just play it over and over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play into my MIDI keyboard and just come up with something. So I'll just keep it going over and over until I come up with a melody in my head that I like, and then I'll look to record it. Now, I'm not sure how advanced people who are watching this video are, or how adept they are at musical theory, but the way that I like to work is I will pick a key that I'm going to write in, I will work out what notes in that key I'm allowed to use, and then it's pretty much just a bit of playing around to come up with some melodies for the bass line or for lead sounds. So for this key, I picked D minor, because D is always a fun one to use. And I picked a variation of the D minor scale, which actually includes D sharp. So usually if you were just doing standard D minor, it goes D, E, F. But in this variation of the D minor scale, it actually goes D, D sharp, which is really cool because you can feel the tension when I go from D to D sharp. Instead of in normal D and then going to E. It's not bad, but I like the tension a bit more between D and D sharp. So now that I know what key I'm going to be writing in, let's just loop the drum section for a moment and try and come up with a melody by playing it into the keyboard. I know what notes are available to me, so now it's just a matter of playing around and coming up with a melody that I like the sound of. Cool, so that was just me playing around on the keyboard. I know what notes are available to me, and now I can just play around and have some fun. And you heard there, I played a few different melodies, and they all kind of sounded cool. Like I could probably make some tracks out of those bassline melodies there. And I guess that just kind of comes with experience of playing on the keyboard. Like I'm not the greatest pianist in the world, but I know how to play a keyboard, and I can come up with cool melodies. And it's even easier when you know what notes are available to you, and it's just a process of just playing around and coming up with them. Like you heard just then, some of those melodies were kind of cool, and I could actually probably make another track out of them. So just loop a drum section, find a bass sound that you like the sound out of, pick a key, and then let's just start coming up with some melodies and see what you can create. Ultimately, this is the melody that I came up with that you guys know. Which I think is very, very catchy, and when you hear it on the dance floors, it's just driving and it makes the crowd want to dance. Now, what's really cool about this melody is the pauses between notes that you'll notice, which makes it cool. So it's like da 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 da. So it's that pause. Listen to it again. Whereas if I held it a bit longer, it's not as cool. It's that pause that makes it cool. So it's little things like that that will create unique and cool melodies. So the other characteristic of the bass sound is the release on the sound isn't overly long. If it had a really long release, you wouldn't be able to feel or hear that pause in the bass line. But because the release isn't too long, it stops the sound when I stop playing that note. I hope you enjoyed that little clip from my project walkthrough video. The full hour-long content is available on my website, needsnosleep.com. If you have any questions, always reach out to me and I'll do my best to get back to you. Until then, I'll see you on the next video.
Notorious, they don't wanna war with us.